So I'd like to introduce you to QT-fudimo, I think is what that's pronounced. I don't know. A lot of these I just don't know about. Long-running account based on what is. So I really do hate that for some reason the two numbers, the nines, are smaller than the other characters. I can never unsee that. And if you have ever looked at that, you'll know that the nines, for some reason, I think nines and sixes are smaller characters. So not a very good account. So this would bring me to believe that it is a most likely stolen account or brute forced in account, just based on record. Like I said, it could be potentially a person who either started cheating or is cheating now, or whatever the logic is on that. But in most likely cases like this, if you have a long-running account that has started cheating, it's usually, so here's the great example. So this is what's going on here. So you don't shoot at exactly the right range at people in the distance, straight the cluster of people in the distance. I restarted this replay right there. Normally I watch an entire replay or watch most of it until I get into kind of an idea of what I'm looking at, but in reality, when you see something that suspicious like there, especially him staring at people through hillsides here and shooting at exact ranges, from the other perspective, before I restarted this replay, I looked at the perspective of these shots, the first two he shot, and there's basically a small hill in the way. But like that, he's shooting people that he cannot see through. By the way, if you look at our map here, so all entire tree line, all these tree lines here, all this tree line here, all this tree here, this tree here, this tree. So it's like 6 forests basically. Oh my God, go away! Oh my God. And just completely blatantly aiming at everyone. I've also gotten notice, obviously, of so there's a couple things I want to bring up. Obviously, I didn't upload the last couple days. I've been extremely busy with work stuff, and obviously real life matters more than a video game. So I haven't even been playing this game for the last week, which, like I said, I mean, as of recently, I even I forget the CC's name off the top of my head, but recently he had a live stream and he wasn't playing War Thunder, even though he normally plays War Thunder, and it was the general consensus that this game is just kind of crap. I mean, Gaijin effectively ruined helicopters because of their really lazy-ass implementation of modules for helicopters that don't have modules yet. So if you take like two 7.62s to the hull, you can no longer use like any of your guns or any of your rockets. I'm like, so cool. So instead of implementing it properly, like, oh, I don't know, getting critical damage on a helicopter, like you get shot with a main tank round, oh, by the way, that would mean that you're now incapacitated. But no, they made it to where if you get shot barely by machine guns, you're just dead. And that's stupid because Gaijin is literally, instead of implementing it correctly on damage models, because helicopters have been overpowered forever in terms of their damage models, they just did the lazy way and said, oh, you take slight damage, you can't use any of your modules. Because, of course, instead of focusing on helicopter modules, they did like 5 helicopter modules and then just said F you to every other helicopter, which is insanity to me because we already know Gaijin has lazy implementation, but they're pumping out AI art now, and now they're just lazily blanket nerfing vehicles for no reason. That to me is just like, as the textbook definition of laziest way to run a game dev. Also, I had one final talk with Skill Issue, at least in my Discord. I did take down one of my videos just because it had kind of semi-incorrect information. However, let's put it this way. I'm a reasonable person when it comes to talking to people and saying, hey, I was wrong. I will either take down or change the video and, admit fault to certain things. So I made a post about it because this person in my Discord claimed that I made a bunch of mistakes and that I should, according to him, re-upload everything with changed information and going from there. He also claimed that the information I got, which by the way was the correct information, was incorrect in my second video, and that it is outright just wrong in that regard. And I don't like re-talking about these stories because in reality this gets old so fast. And I told him, I go, look, I get it, you have an issue with the way I run my videos. I understand that. But if you want to do a proper response, do it yourself. Put a Reddit post out, and I'll put a link to it. And he ended up saying just, no, I want you to do all the work for me. So I made my one compromise and then left it at that. And now he is, just not wanting to deal with that. So in that regard, it's a matter of hey, if you want to be a reasonable human being, make a response on it. Like, I get people in my comment section all the time who come in and say, hey, I'm the squadron commander. This person, we found out as a cheater. We banned them from our squadron. You know, we're doing the right thing. Which I had someone recently of, unfortunately, I'm not looking up the names right now, but somebody in my comment section came in recently to say, hey, I'm a leader in the squadron. I realize this player is a problem. We have banned this player from our squadron. Cool, that's great. That's an ultimate response I want from squadron commanders that actually give a crap about what's going on in their squadron. But Skill Issue, while they are a top 100 squadron, and I got all the correct information on them, I'm just wrong. So that's what I find absolutely hilarious about the whole interaction with them, is that they are acting extremely entitled over a video game. And that to me is absolutely hilarious. So, to all the fanboys for Skill Issue, your one person in Discord that contacted me, which I will not name here, is effectively ruining your reputation by making you all come out to be pretty dang spoiled, which is what you are effectively turning their squadron into, because instead of doing your own research and actually making a response yourself, you are trying to make me do all the work for you, which in reality is just lazy. So, and the last thing I wanted to bring up was the fact that people are, so obviously people are adamant or sort of hesitant about the whole BattlEye issue coming up. BattlEye obviously is another implementation of an anti-cheat, and we kind of just don't know what that implementation will be yet. Everyone says, oh, wait, EAC sucks. It's not a great way to run it. We need it to be more secure, blah, blah, blah. So I think I've mentioned it before, but Gaijin implemented EAC back 3 years ago now at this point. And obviously, ever since then, we've had a cheater problem. The biggest problem that people aren't realizing is that EAC was never set up correctly. And when they did set it up correctly, initially, there was horrible game performance. We had probably some of the worst game performance when they first introduced EAC, because EAC was actually set up correctly, but because this game only runs on a single core, we were having major stuttering, major catches. It wasn't that great. And the first couple of days of EAC, there weren't any cheater issues. Now, granted, the network issues weren't really that prevalent until about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, about a couple months after EAC got implemented, and then it became a major problem, and that was the problem we're at now. So, like I said, if BattlEye is actually set up correctly, then we will probably have a better game going forward. But like Rainbow Six Siege, which everyone says always has a cheater problem, like I said, every game has some sort of cheater level issue, you have to still remember that the cheater issue can be mitigated if you have an active dev team. I'm not holding hope for Gaijin. I already said earlier that they are being really lazy with their implementations on certain aspects of just basic parts of the game, and game security clearly isn't one that they care about. If they have to now switch to EAC because they couldn't set up, you know, BattlEye correct, or they didn't set up EAC correctly, and now they're switching to BattlEye. If they switch to BattlEye and do their own implementation, kind of, and their own other security, kind of like what they do with what Rainbow Six does, they have an in-house one plus BattlEye, then it gets a little bit better. But there's always going to be people that brute force. The thing is, right now, is that EAC is not working. BattlEye might work. We just don't know what the implementation is going to look like yet. And if it does fix it, then we might see a better solution going forward. But in reality, I'm not holding my hopes up just because of how Gaijin's implementation has been recently. I'm going to go into this in a further video on something else that was brought up to me in terms of future teching stuff. But we will ultimately see going forward what that entails. So I'm going to leave this here. As always, if you have a personal question you want to leave to me, leave it in my pinned comment. And as always, I hope you have a good rest of your morning, day, evening, or night. And have a good one.